What's going on, everyone? Seth Miranda here.
Fernando Martinez.
And we've got a lot to share with you from Fujifilm. 2 new lenses and a banger of a new camera body, Fujifilm X-H2s, which they are calling their flagship. They said it to our faces, so I'm going for it, and I totally believe it. I don't know about you.
They can't take it back. It is a very capable camera.
It is a very capable stills camera.
And video camera.
Honestly, I will say it's probably leaning more heavily on a video, if not cinema-centric type camera. So let's start off with those specs before we get into the stills.
Very simple. 4K 120, 6.2K at 30 frames per second, and Full HD at 240 frames per second. On top of that, we still have Apple ProResHQ internal,
which is sick,
which is at 10-bit 422, and external, you can do ProRes RAW and Blackmagic RAW.
You can just see how versatile this is and how many options you have, but also there's a new log.
F-Log 2.
Which
claims higher dynamic range with a base ISO of 1250.
Which is great. Also, we should mention that they have some really great IBIS going on in this thing, right?
7 stops, they're claiming.
7 stops, which you're gonna need because you're probably gonna wanna run and go with this thing, but it doesn't stop you from also building out if you wanted to, right? Which you did.
100%. But before I built it, I tried this little guy. This is the 18-120 f4 power zoom.
And with power zoom, you know that's a feature that they designed this lens more for video in mind.
Not only regular video, but run and gun video.
Yeah.
This thing is very, very light. Obviously a big zoom range. And it's definitely designed for video when you notice that it has, you know, a power zoom rocker on the actual body. There is no protrusion on the zoom, so everything's encompassed. Of course, weather resistant.
So it stays the same size, just so you guys get the sense of that, like it never grows or expands.
And I had it with me shooting around the city, getting a bunch of shots, which you're probably seeing on camera right now. And it is a very, very flexible, portable video option for the X mount.
Yeah, so this goes along with this being a very versatile system. It's a nice outing from Fujifilm. While you can run and gun with this, you got the stabilization, the smaller form factor, all that stuff, you can build this out, right? Which you did. You did it with the MK lenses, which I think they've been waiting for a camera for those lenses, the Fujinon MK lenses, right?
I love those lenses. I've shot them for a while, and obviously they're a perfect fit for this camera. They are parfocal, great range between both of them, build like a tank.
Yeah.
And talking about building, we build a little rig with it with, you know, a V-mount battery to power it through USB-C.
Yep.
And then being able to just have like a few rails, a very lightweight matte box, and it is a very great cinema setup.
Yeah, and you know, being nimble but still having the power of what this camera can produce, which is what all the specs you just spit out. But aside from the video aspect, we're looking at a very, very capable stills camera. I totally believe that they really took off the gloves with this one, not only for video but also for stills. And I got to go shoot it outside with our guy Dave on the rooftop really quick. You know, really high noon, awesome sun. We love the high noon sun. But then I got to go and try it out right in front of Adorama proper. I like saying Adorama proper. Proper. Very proper. But I got to try it out with this new 150 to 600 f5.6 to f8 lens. Now this is nuts.
It's crazy.
So I mean, this is a super telephoto that is internal zoom, so you guys know what that's about. You see it a lot on 7200s on full frame. Basically, it's all internal, so you don't have to worry about it getting like filthy and then crushing all that dirt and dust inside the lens as you zoom it out so much. But I will say I was absolutely shocked at a few things. One, how fast this focused, and two, the close focusing. I was actually right up to Marissa's face, filling the frame with just half her face focused, right, at the full 600 millimeters, which is kind of crazy. That's over 900 millimeters if you want to equate it into full frame terms. I mean, we were looking at a camera with a 26 megapixel backside illuminated stacked sensor. No blackout in that EVF, but we're also talking about high frame rates here, okay? So while it's crop sensor, you're looking at up to 40 frames per second with the electronic shutter. And if you want to go to mechanical shutter, you got up to 15 frames. That's ridiculous.
Seth, I wonder what that would look like.
Oh, why, you are probably looking at it right now with Marissa doing a hair flip or just simply opening her eye. It looks like video, but it's stills, right? I think that's kind of where we're going right now. But this is full res images that are happening at 40 frames per second. And keep in mind, if you're worried about the buffer, you also have this camera having a CF Express Type B slot along with the SD slot. So you have a super fast memory, one that we think that the industry is leaning more and more towards easily, especially for video. video,
Yes.
right? So you're looking at a camera that is kind of going towards more future-ready things, but I can't really speak too much to the buffer because we had to shoot JPEG with his pre-production units. So all the video you're looking at from Fernando, pre-production units.
Yes.
And everything you're looking at from me are pre-production JPEG shots. So it doesn't seem like it's going to bog down though, and especially with that CF Express Type B, you're kind of, getting an extra step with the faster card, which is where the bottleneck usually happens. But I'll say this camera, man, first of all, the grip, I got to tell you, felt great. I mean, it felt like a new camera to me, like a new design, but it's really deep. You can really get a good grip on this camera. I mean, especially I was using this lens, but how'd you feel about it?
Same. I mean, it definitely feels deeper. I mean, if you shot with the X-H2s, it does feel very familiar, but definitely deeper than other options from Fuji.
Yeah, like the XT series, you might have more of a grip on this one, and I didn't feel my fingers rubbing against the lens or anything crazy like that, which you can run into on smaller bodies. I just really think that they did a really good job, and if you need even more of a grip, they have, well, a grip with Wi-Fi in it. You're talking about a grip right here that will get those photos off your camera up to wire to your editor. If you're out there on the field or something like that and need them out there fast, news, anything like that, you have the ability. But this also has a port for Ethernet and USB-C. So you have connectability where however you need it from this grip if you want it as an option. While we're talking about the physical of it, some of you guys might be really happy to hear that there is a headphone jack on here. Woo!
3.5.
If you shot video on the X-T4, you know what we're talking about. We had to have an adapter for the USB-C for the headphones. Well, now you have a headphone jack, which makes sense. They really thought about video shooters on this one.
Also, very important to me, full HDMI.
And as long as we're talking about the physical, you might think that with 40 frames per second or all this crazy video functionality that it would get hot, right? Overheating. We talk about that a lot in this industry lately because we're talking about a lot of data processing in our cameras. Well, I can say we both pushed it relatively hard. We didn't really feel it get warm. However, if you're concerned about that, there is a cooling fan back option that you can actually screw onto the back to have an active cooling unit blowing air and moving that air around on the back of the camera. However, we didn't felt like neither one of us felt like we needed it. I didn't feel like it warm.
No, and it was a hot day too.
Actually, yeah, it is. It's basically, it's Memorial Day weekend. All in all, I'll say, who's this camera for, right? Well, for me, on the still side, you're talking about fast frames per second, smaller form factor. It's already a crop body. You know where I'm going with this. Sports shooters, wildlife, anybody trying to get that long reach. Now you pair it with the lens like this, and it's crazy. I will also say the autofocus felt like it got a bit of a boost for me. They do say that the face detection now notices hairlines, glasses, face coverings, but I just felt like it was recognizing faces faster, like snappier, stickier, just all around improved. And let's not forget that they're really talking about this working really well in low light for many reasons, including the autofocus going down to -7 EV, which is super dark. And I should also mention there is a pre-capture feature to the stills where we'll actually start feeding frames before you hit the shutter. When you have to press, it's already gathering frames. So, and that's another thing I think we're seeing become more and more like industry going forward. But as far as I'm concerned, I think we're looking at one of the fastest cameras Fuji's put out. So I think we're looking at like a sports, wildlife, on the fly kind of thing.
On the video side, we have very much a run and gun type of situation. We can definitely gear it up, and it's capable, especially with the types of setups that we were running with the MK lenses.
Oh yeah.
But whether it be the new 18 to 120 or even some of the older like 16 to 55s, 2.8, it really feels like a run and gun camera and very capable. And just switch to slow motion if you need to. It has great stabilization. There is no reason why not just to keep moving with it.
And I gotta say, for the price point, you're looking at a lot of camera here that is pretty versatile. I mean, this is like doing a video. It felt like us doing a video for like 3 cameras, and like, did it feel like that? Like, I mean, I had to bring in backup this time, right? So, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this one. Fujifilm really seems to be very proud of it as well. They are calling it their flagship. So if you're at all wondering more about it, you want to see specific specs, go hit the links down below in the description. We'll put them down there for you. Don't forget to ask any questions from our use. We'll do our best to answer them down in those comments. Hit like, really helps out the video and this channel. Subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when we put out these videos. If you're missing them, that might be why. I don't know, I'm good. Are you good?
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Later, guys. Peace. Bye. Bye. Finally, even. Bye. Bye.
So let's get into the specs.
I am exhausted.
I know, bud.
All right.
Hang in there.